The grand chamber of the Galactic Council stretched wider than 3 football fields, its crystal walls reaching up into darkness where distant stars twinkled through the transparent ceiling. James Walker stood at the center of it all, a single human figure surrounded by hundreds of alien representatives. His plain black suit looked out of place among the shimmering robes and biomechanical enhancement suits worn by the other species. The marble-like floor beneath his feet displayed a real-time map of the galaxy, making him feel as if he were standing on a sea of stars. But James didn't feel small. He knew what was coming, and he fought to keep a straight face as he prepared to deliver Earth's announcement. "Honorable members of the Council," he began, his voice steady and clear. "Earth has achieved a breakthrough in dimensional engineering. We are here to announce the successful creation of a 7th-dimensional drive system." For 3 seconds, complete silence filled the chamber. Then, like a dam breaking, laughter erupted from all directions. The sound came in every possible form: clicking mandibles, rumbling chest cavities, whistling air sacs, and electronic buzzing from the machine races. High Counselor Rex, a 12-foot-tall being with crystalline skin that sparkled under the starlight, raised one of his 4 hands for silence. His face, though alien, clearly showed amusement. Liquid diamond tears of laughter rolled down his faceted cheeks. "Mr. Walker," Rex said, his voice booming through the chamber. "Perhaps something was lost in translation. Are you claiming that your species, which only mastered 4-dimensional travel a mere century ago, has somehow developed technology that even the elder races haven't achieved in 50,000 years?" More laughter followed. In the upper viewing rings, the gaseous beings of the Nebula Collective pulsed with colors that indicated intense amusement. Their cloud-like bodies swirled with patterns that any human child would recognize as the alien equivalent of pointing and laughing. James noticed the Blue Star Empire's representatives whispering to each other behind their energy screens. Their species had been the first to mock Earth's early attempts at faster-than-light travel, calling human ships primitive boxes stumbling through space. Now they were probably adding another joke to their collection. "Our claims are backed by practical results," James continued, maintaining his professional demeanor. "Earth requests recognition of this achievement and appropriate adjustment of our status in the galactic community." A series of high-pitched whistles came from the Swarm Unity section. Their translator spoke up, converting their song into standard galactic speech. "The humans cannot even manipulate gravity without mechanical assistance. How do they expect us to believe they've mastered 7-dimensional physics?" James watched as different species took turns making jokes about Earth's claim. The machine race called Logic Collective calculated the statistical probability of humans achieving such technology. Their answer of 0.0000023% got another round of laughs. But James knew something they didn't. He remembered the classified briefing about Project Infinity Gate. He had seen the test footage. He had watched as the prototype ship, hidden in Jupiter's atmosphere, phased through 7 layers of reality simultaneously. He had witnessed the impossible become possible. The laughter continued as more representatives joined in. Some were making predictions about how spectacularly this human experiment would fail. Others were suggesting that perhaps humans had confused their numbers and meant to say 7th attempt at 4-dimensional travel. High Counselor Rex raised his hand again, this time with a more diplomatic expression. "Mr. Walker, while we appreciate Earth's enthusiasm for advancement, making impossible claims will not accelerate your species' integration into the galactic community. Focus on improving your current technology. In a few thousand years, perhaps we can discuss 5-dimensional physics." James simply nodded, maintaining his slight smile. He thought about the HSS Paradigm, humanity's first 7th-dimensional vessel, currently in its final testing phase. In 3 months, the galaxy would understand that this wasn't a joke. But for now, he would let them laugh. "Thank you for your time, Honorable Council," he said, bowing slightly. "Earth looks forward to demonstrating our achievement in the near future." As he turned to leave the chamber, the laughter followed him. But James Walker knew something that none of them did. Sometimes the best moment to change the galaxy was when nobody believed you could. 3 months after the council meeting, strange things began happening across the galaxy. The first warning signs appeared near Jupiter, where several deep space monitoring stations picked up readings that made no sense. The advanced computers of the Blue Star Empire, which had laughed the loudest at Earth's claims, now displayed error messages their scientists couldn't explain. Commander Ann Thompson stood at the main viewport of the HSS Paradigm, watching Jupiter's great red storm swirl beneath them. The massive ship hung silently in the gas giant's upper atmosphere, hidden from prying eyes by layers of swirling clouds and electromagnetic interference. Its hull, stretching nearly a mile long, looked like flowing mercury in the dim sunlight that reached this far from Earth. "Status report," she called out, her voice carrying across the bridge. The bridge itself was unlike anything ever built before. Instead of traditional control panels, the walls seemed to shift and move, displaying information in patterns that regular human eyes couldn't fully process. The crew wore special neural interfaces that helped them understand the 7-dimensional data streams flowing through the ship. "Main core is stable at 97%, reported Tom Miller, the chief engineer. His fingers moved through holographic displays that appeared and disappeared like soap bubbles. "The 7th dimensional fold is holding steady. We're getting some bleed-through in dimensions 5 and 6, but nothing we can't handle." Outside the ship, reality itself seemed to bend. The paradigm wasn't just sitting in space. It existed in 7 dimensions at once. Even now, during these final tests, it was simultaneously present in multiple layers of reality. The effect made the ship appear ghostly, like a reflection in moving water. "Ma'am," called out Lisa Reed from the sensor station, "we're picking up increased scanning activity from the Centauri observation posts. They're definitely noticing something odd, but their instruments can't make sense of our dimensional signature." Anne smiled. The aliens' most advanced sensors were designed to detect movement through the first 4 dimensions, with some limited ability to track 5-dimensional anomalies. But 7 dimensions, they might as well try to read a book through a brick wall. Across the galaxy, more warning signs appeared. The gaseous beings of the Nebula Collective reported disturbances in their quantum communication networks. The crystalline entities of Centauri Prime found their gravity wells fluctuating without explanation. Even the machine race of the Logic Collective was forced to admit that their probability calculations were showing impossible results. Back on the bridge of the Paradigm, Anne reviewed the latest data from their test runs. The ship had successfully completed 15 jumps through 7-dimensional space. Each jump had taken them instantly to points that would have required years to reach using conventional faster-than-light travel. More importantly, each jump had been completely undetectable by standard sensors. "New contact," announced Marcus Jones from Tactical. "Long-range scouts from the Blue Star Empire. Looks like they're trying to investigate the anomalies we're causing." Anne watched the alien ships on the main display. They were beautiful vessels, all sweeping lines and glowing energy fields. 2 months ago, she would have considered them the peak of space technology. Now they looked like wooden sailing ships compared to the Paradigm. "Let them look," she said. "They won't find anything until we want them to." The crew continued their preparations. In the engine room, the quantum core pulsed with energy that existed in multiple dimensions. In the research lab, scientists fine-tuned the ship's ability to phase between dimensional layers. Everyone knew that soon, very soon, they would reveal themselves to a galaxy that had dismissed humanity as primitive upstarts. "Message from Earth Command," Lisa announced. "We have green light for final preparations. The demonstration is scheduled for next week." Anne nodded, feeling the weight of history on her shoulders. She thought about James Walker, still enduring the mocking laughter at the Galactic Council. She thought about all the times alien races had patted humanity on the head, like children playing with toys they didn't understand. "Send word to the rest of the fleet," she ordered. "It's time to show the galaxy what humanity can really do." As the message went out, Anne looked at her crew, each person focused, confident, and ready. The warning signs had been ignored by a galaxy too set in its ways to imagine that humanity could surpass them. Soon, they would learn that sometimes the greatest achievements come from those you least expect. The laughter was about to stop. The day of revelation arrived with little warning. The HSS Paradigm rose from Jupiter's swirling clouds like a ghost becoming solid. Its hull, nearly a mile long, shifted colors as it moved through different dimensional layers. One moment it looked solid silver, the next it seemed transparent. Then it appeared to exist in multiple places at once. In the ship's command center, Commander Ann Thompson watched as her crew made final preparations. "All stations, report readiness," she ordered, her voice steady, despite the historic moment ahead of them. "Engineering ready," Tom called out. The quantum core hummed behind his voice, a sound that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. 7-dimensional drive is operating at full capacity. All safety systems are green. Tactical ready, Marcus reported from his station. Defense systems are active. Dimensional shift protocols are loaded and waiting. Lisa spoke up from sensors. Multiple contacts detected. The alien fleets are responding exactly as predicted. We have vessels incoming from the Blue Star Empire, Centauri Prime, and the Logic Collective. The alien ships appeared from hyperspace like angry wasps disturbed from their nest. Their weapons charge, creating beautiful patterns of energy against the black of space. The Blue Star Empire's flagship led the formation, its crystal-like hull glowing with enough power to destroy a small moon. "They still think they're coming to shut down some failed experiment," Anne said, allowing herself a small smile. "Open broadcast channels on all frequencies, including the 7-dimensional bands we discovered." The alien fleets drew closer, their formations tight and professional. Their sensors swept the area, trying to make sense of the paradigm. Traditional scanning beams simply passed through the ship as if it wasn't there. Anne pressed a button on her command chair, activating the broadcast. "This is Commander Ann Thompson of the human spaceship Paradigm. 3 months ago, our ambassador informed the Galactic Council of our breakthrough. You responded with laughter. Today, that laughter ends." The alien ships launched their first wave of scanning probes. The small devices raced toward the Paradigm, their sensors working overtime to analyze the impossible readings they were receiving. "Begin the demonstration," Anne ordered. "Activate the 7th-dimensional drive." The Paradigm's hull began to shimmer more intensely. The quantum core's hum grew louder, but instead of coming from the engine room, it seemed to resonate from different points in space-time simultaneously. The effect made several alien sensor systems crash from overload. What happened next would be recorded in every species' historical archive, though none could fully capture it. The Paradigm didn't just move, it existed in 7 dimensions at once. It appeared in multiple locations simultaneously, each version as real as the others. The ship passed through solid matter as if it wasn't there, reappeared thousands of kilometers away in an instant, and performed maneuvers that broke every known law of physics. Receiving transmissions from the alien fleets, Lisa announced, her voice excited. They're demanding explanations. The Blue Star Empire's admiral seems particularly upset. Indeed, the alien ships had broken formation, their neat battle lines dissolving into chaos as they tried to track the Paradigm's movements. Their most advanced targeting systems couldn't lock onto something that existed in 7 dimensions at once. "Show them Phase 2, Anne commanded. Tom's fingers danced across his control panel. The Paradigm's hull began to pulse with patterns that hurt the eyes to look at directly. Suddenly, 5 more ships identical to the Paradigm emerged from behind dimensional veils. They had been there the whole time, hidden in layers of reality the aliens couldn't perceive. The alien fleet's response was immediate. Some ships tried to retreat, their engines flaring bright against the darkness. Others maintained their positions but powered down their weapons. A few brave or foolish captains attempted to track the human vessels, their sensors burning out from the impossible data they were receiving. "Message from Earth Command," Lisa reported. "They say it's time for the main event. The rest of the fleet is ready." Anne nodded, feeling the weight of the moment. Humanity wasn't just showing off one ship. They were about to reveal their full capability to a galaxy that had dismissed them for too long. "Send to all human ships," she ordered. "Execute Operation Paradigm Shift. Let's show them what humanity can really do." As she gave the order, Anne remembered all the times alien races had laughed at human technology. Now, as their seven-dimensional fleet prepared to demonstrate its full power, she knew one thing for certain. No one would be laughing anymore. The real demonstration was about to begin. Space itself seemed to ripple as 50 more human ships emerged from their dimensional veils, each vessel identical to the Paradigm, their hulls shimmering with impossible patterns as they moved through multiple dimensions simultaneously. The alien fleet, which had arrived so confidently to investigate what they thought was a failed experiment, now found themselves surrounded by technology they couldn't even understand. Commander Ann Thompson's voice echoed across all communication channels again. "This is just the beginning of our demonstration. Watch carefully. You're about to witness what true seven-dimensional technology can do." "Enemy ships are charging weapons," Marcus reported from Tactical, though his tone showed no concern. "The Blue Star Empire's flagship is attempting to lock weapons on our position. All 6 of our positions." Anne nodded calmly. "Let them fire. It's time they learned why dimensional superiority matters." The alien fleet opened fire. Energy beams, plasma torpedoes, and quantum missiles streaked across space. The attacks were impressive, each one powerful enough to shatter a moon. But they passed harmlessly through the human ships, which existed partially in other dimensions. It was like trying to shoot a shadow. "Begin Phase 3, Anne ordered. "All ships, execute Pattern Infinity." The human fleet moved in perfect synchronization. Ships appeared and disappeared, each one shifting through dimensional layers like dancers in a cosmic ballet. A single human vessel could exist in 12 different locations simultaneously, making it impossible for the aliens to track them, let alone fight them. The Blue Star Empire's flagship, pride of their fleet, fired its main weapon, a beam of pure energy that could cut a planet in half. The beam passed through 3 human ships without effect. Those same ships then appeared inside the alien vessel's shield perimeter, proving that no defense could stop something that could simply step through higher dimensions. "Their shields mean nothing," Tom explained from his engineering station, excitement in his voice. "They're trying to block 3-dimensional attacks with 3-dimensional defenses. We're operating on 7 dimensions simultaneously." The demonstration continued. Human ships passed through solid matter as if it wasn't there. They appeared simultaneously at points that should have taken years to travel between. The aliens' most advanced sensors couldn't even detect them unless the human crews wanted to be seen. "Message from the Logic Collective flagship," Lisa announced. They're asking for a ceasefire. The Blue Star Empire and Centauri Prime are also sending surrender signals. But this wasn't about accepting surrenders. This was about showing the galaxy exactly what humanity could do. The human fleet began its final maneuver, Operation Starwave. 50 ships, moving through 7 dimensions, created a pattern so complex it looked like reality itself was being rewoven. The ships didn't just move through space. They moved through time, through probability, through layers of existence the aliens had never even imagined. "All ships report ready for the final demonstration," Marcus said. Anne stood from her command chair. "Execute final phase. Show them the true power of 7-dimensional technology." The human fleet moved as one. In an instant, they created a 7-dimensional matrix around the alien fleet. The pattern they wove through space-time was so complex that several alien sensor systems simply shut down, unable to process what they were seeing. Then, with a flash that seemed to happen everywhere at once, the human ships transported the entire alien fleet to the edge of the solar system, a distance that would have taken their fastest ships hours to cross. They had moved hundreds of vessels across light years of space instantly, without affecting a single crew member aboard those ships. Silence filled all communication channels. The aliens, who had arrived ready for combat, now floated powerless at the edge of human space, their most advanced technology rendered meaningless by humanity's achievement. "Send final transmission to all channels," Anne ordered. Her voice carried across space one last time. "This demonstration is complete. We could have moved your ships into a star. We could have scattered your atoms across 7 dimensions. Instead, we showed you mercy, something you might remember the next time you choose to mock a primitive species." The alien ships hung motionless in space, their crews trying to understand what they had just witnessed. Their sensors couldn't explain it. Their computers couldn't analyze it. Their weapons had been useless against it. On the Paradigm's bridge, Anne allowed herself a small smile. "Send word to Earth. Tell them the demonstration was successful. The galaxy won't be laughing anymore." As her crew relayed the message, she knew that everything had changed. Humanity hadn't just caught up to the galactic community. They had surpassed them in ways the aliens couldn't even comprehend. The demonstration was over. The age of human dominance had begun. The emergency session of the Galactic Council began in chaos. Gone was the usual order and dignity of the Grand Chamber. Species that had existed in peace for millennia were now shouting over each other, their voices filled with fear and disbelief. The great star map beneath their feet flickered with emergency reports from across the galaxy. High Counselor Rex, who had laughed at humanity's claims just 3 months ago, now sat silent on his crystalline throne. The liquid diamond tears on his face weren't from laughter this time. They were from worry. "The humans moved our entire defense fleet across 50 light-years in an instant," shouted the Blue Star Empire's representative, his energy form crackling with agitation. "Our best shields meant nothing to them. Our weapons passed right through their ships." The Logic Collective's machine consciousness spoke next, its mechanical voice lacking its usual certainty. "We have analyzed the sensor data 2,947 times. Their ships existed in 7 dimensions simultaneously. Our probability calculations showed this should be impossible, yet we all witnessed it. In the upper rings, the gaseous beings of the Nebula Collective had stopped their usual colorful swirling. They hung still and dark, like storm clouds before a hurricane. Their translator spoke for them. Our oldest records speak of the elder races attempting 7-dimensional travel. All failed. All died. Yet these humans, these newcomers." James Walker entered the chamber again, walking to the center just as he had 3 months ago. This time, no one laughed. The sound of his footsteps echoed in the tense silence. He carried a small data cube in his hand, its surface shifting with the same impossible patterns as the human ships. "Honorable members of the Council," he began, his voice calm and measured. "I believe it's time to discuss humanity's new status in the galactic community." The Swarm Unity's representative buzzed forward. "How did you do it? How did humans achieve in decades what we couldn't in millennia?" James placed the data cube on the floor. It projected a hologram showing the human fleet's demonstration. The council members watched again as the ships moved through dimensions, defying every law of physics they thought they understood. "Perhaps," James said, "it was because you told us it was impossible. Humanity has a long history of achieving the impossible, simply because no one told us we couldn't. Or perhaps it was because you all laughed at us, mocked us, dismissed us. That tends to motivate humans." The hologram showed the moment when the human fleet had transported the alien ships across space. The council chamber filled with murmurs and worried whispers. "Your weapons are now obsolete," James continued. "Your shields cannot stop us. Your sensors cannot track us unless we allow it. We can appear anywhere, at any time, moving through dimensions you cannot even perceive." High Counselor Rex finally spoke, his voice having lost its previous condescension. "What are your demands, Ambassador Walker?" James smiled slightly. "Demands? We're not here to make demands. We're here to offer opportunities. Humanity remembers those who showed us kindness, those few races who treated us with respect even when others laughed. They will be the first to receive sharing rights to our 7-dimensional technology." The chamber erupted again. Every species wanted to claim they had been humanity's friend all along. Representatives who had openly mocked Earth now tried to remind James of small diplomatic courtesies from years past. As for the rest, James continued, raising his voice slightly to cut through the chaos. Your status in the galactic community will be adjusted. After all, how can you claim technological superiority when your most advanced ships can be moved around space like pieces on a game board? The data cube's hologram showed one final image: Earth's solar system, now protected by a fleet of ships that could rewrite the rules of reality itself. The message was clear. The time of laughing at humanity was over. The human delegation will provide new protocols for diplomatic relations within the week, James concluded. I suggest you all take this time to reconsider your previous opinions about Earth and its capabilities. As James turned to leave the chamber, the silence that followed him was very different from his last visit. The great powers of the galaxy watched him go, finally understanding the simple truth. They had laughed at giants thinking they were mocking children. The balance of power hadn't just shifted. It had been completely rewritten in 7 dimensions. 1 month after the demonstration, the galaxy had changed more than anyone could have predicted. Human ships patrolled trade routes that once belonged to the most powerful alien empires. The HSS Paradigm, now famous across 1,000 worlds, had become a symbol of humanity's rise to power. In her new office aboard Earth's orbital command station, Commander Ann Thompson, now Admiral Thompson, reviewed the latest reports from across human space. The wall screens showed feeds from 7-dimensional sensors, displaying information that most alien races couldn't even comprehend. Another diplomatic request from the Blue Star Empire, reported her aide, placing a datapad on her desk. They're offering their entire database of 4-dimensional technology in exchange for just a glimpse at our basic 7-dimensional principles. Anne smiled, remembering how the Blue Star Empire had once called human ships primitive boxes tumbling through space. Now they begged for scraps of human knowledge. Send them the standard response, she said. All technology sharing will be based on past diplomatic relations. They'd made their choices when they laughed at us. Let them live with those choices. The changes weren't just political. Human 7-dimensional ships had revolutionized galactic trade. Journeys that once took weeks now happened in moments. Earth's economy boomed as human vessels could deliver cargo instantly to any point in space, charging premium rates for their unique services. A hologram appeared on Anne's desk, James Walker, calling from the Galactic Council. His image smiled as it formed. Admiral, you'll be pleased to hear the Council just approved our latest proposal. We now have sole rights to regulate 7-dimensional travel in 3 sectors of the galaxy. How did the Logic Collective take that news? Anne asked, knowing the machine race had once claimed total control over those sectors. Their representative actually glitched for a few seconds. James chuckled. But they couldn't argue. Not after we demonstrated how easily we could shut down their entire network by shifting it slightly out of phase with normal spacetime. The conversation was interrupted by a priority alert. One of Earth's new allies, a small species that had shown humans kindness before their rise to power, was under attack from pirates in the Outer Rim. Paradigm Actual, responding, Anne said, activating her neural link to the ship. Even from orbit around Earth, she could connect to her vessel through 7-dimensional space. Show me the situation. The display shifted, showing a group of pirate vessels attacking a civilian transport. In the past, such raids were common, taking advantage of the vast distances between worlds. But things were different now. Hess Paradigm, engaging, and commanded. Across the room, screens showed her ship shifting through dimensional layers. It appeared instantly at the scene of the attack, existing in multiple points of spacetime simultaneously. The pirates, seeing the legendary vessel materialize around them, didn't even try to fight. They surrendered immediately. Their weapons, once considered advanced, were useless against a ship that could simply step between dimensions to avoid any attack. Another successful intervention, James noted. The smaller races are starting to see us as protectors, not just conquerors. That's exactly the image we wanted to project. Anne nodded, watching as her crew secured the pirate vessels. How are the sharing programs going with our chosen allies? Better than expected, James replied. The races that treated us well in the past are learning quickly. Their scientists already grasp the basic principles of five-dimensional travel. We'll start teaching them sixth-dimensional theory next month. Through her office window, Anne could see Earth's shipyards in orbit. Dozens of new seven-dimensional vessels were under construction, their hulls shimmering with impossible patterns. Each one would be more advanced than the last, pushing the boundaries of what even humanity thought possible. The Centauri Prime delegation is asking again about defensive applications, James added. They're worried we might have more capabilities we haven't revealed yet. Let them worry, Anne said. Fear kept them in power for millennia. Now they can experience it from the other side. As she looked at the reports coming in from across human space, Anne felt a deep sense of satisfaction. Humanity hadn't just proven themselves. They had revolutionized galactic civilization itself. The species that had once laughed at them now either served as grateful allies or worried about human ships appearing in their systems. The galaxy had learned an important lesson. Never underestimate a species that turns mockery into motivation. And this was just the beginning of humanity's golden age. 5 years after humanity's demonstration of seven-dimensional technology, the galaxy had transformed beyond recognition. The great chamber of the Galactic Council, once dominated by ancient powers, now centered around the human delegation. Earth's section of the chamber featured a floating platform that existed in multiple dimensions, a constant reminder of humanity's technological superiority. Admiral Anne Thompson stood aboard the observation deck of the New Earth Station, a massive structure that orbited between dimensions, making it virtually impossible to attack or even detect without human technology. Below her, ships from 24 species trained together in seven-dimensional space combat exercises. Training results from Group 7, reported Captain Tom Miller, now her chief of operations. The Arcturus race has mastered sixth-dimensional navigation. They're ready to begin seven-dimensional studies. Anne nodded with approval. The Arcturus people had been among the few who showed humanity respect before the Great Revelation. Now they were reaping the rewards of that early friendship. And how are our former mockers doing? She asked, though she already knew the answer. Tom brought up a holographic display showing the Blue Star Empire's latest attempt to reverse engineer human technology. Their scientists had managed to achieve stable five-dimensional travel, but only because Earth had allowed them access to that level of knowledge. The Empire's once mighty fleet now served as a cautionary tale, their ships regulated to simple patrol duties in their home system. The Logic Collective sent another petition, Tom added. They want to upgrade their probability engines with our dimensional technology. They're offering their entire artificial intelligence database in exchange. Denied, Anne said simply. They called our achievement impossible. Let them puzzle over the impossibility a while longer. Through the station's quantum windows, Anne watched as the newest class of human ships performed their drills. The vessels made the original AHS paradigm look primitive in comparison. These ships didn't just travel through seven dimensions. They could manipulate dimensional space itself, creating shortcuts through reality that even humanity hadn't imagined possible 5 years ago. James Walker, now Earth's High Ambassador, appeared on the main communication screen. Age and responsibility had added some gray to his hair, but his eyes still held that same quiet confidence from the day he first addressed the council. Admiral, he said, the final treaties are signed. The galaxy is officially divided into new administrative sectors. Earth controls all seven-dimensional travel permits, and our allies have exclusive rights to dimensions 5 through 7 in their territories. Anne smiled. How did the Centauri Prime representatives react? They used to control half those sectors. They sat quietly and signed, James replied with a slight grin. It's amazing how reasonable people become when your ships can appear inside their home systems at any moment. But humanity's rise hadn't been about revenge or dominance. Earth had used its power to bring genuine peace to the galaxy. Pirates and raiders were now extinct, their ships useless against seven-dimensional patrols. Trade flourished as human technology shortened journeys from years to minutes. Medical breakthroughs saved billions as emergency supplies could reach any world instantly. "The new academy is ready," Tom reported, changing the display to show a massive structure near Mars. "Next month, we begin teaching advanced dimensional physics to students from 50 different species." The academy represented humanity's true victory. Rather than hoard their knowledge, they shared it with those who proved themselves worthy. The message was clear: treat others with respect, and doors would open. Continue with arrogance, and find yourself left behind. "Message from the Paradigm," Tom announced. "They've completed their final mission. The ship is ready for retirement." Anne turned to look at her old command through the quantum windows. The HSS Paradigm, the ship that had changed everything, glided gracefully into dock. It would become a museum piece now, a reminder of the day humanity proved every doubter wrong. "The galaxy's a different place now," James observed. "Remember when they laughed at us in the council chamber? Now they hold their breath every time we speak." Anne watched as another training fleet performed a perfect seven-dimensional formation change. Ships from a dozen species moving in perfect harmony. "We didn't just prove them wrong," she said. "We showed them a better way." Those who laughed loudest learned humility. Those who showed kindness found friendship. As the eternal dance of stars played out before them, humanity stood at the center of a new galactic age. They had taken mockery and turned it into motivation, ridicule into revolution. The laughter had stopped long ago, replaced by something far more valuable: respect earned through actions, not demanded through force. And somewhere in the vast expanse of space, the echoes of that ancient laughter faded away, replaced by the sound of 1,000 species working together to explore the true wonders of seven-dimensional space. The end.